Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Zach, but you can call me Hazardous. Welcome back to another Red Dead Redemption 2 video here on the channel today. And in today's video, I'm joining up with Red Bandit to talk about all the hidden details, features, and other secrets within these new gameplay screenshots that you guys definitely need to know about, and probably some details you missed in these screenshots when you looked at them yesterday when Rockstar released them very early in the morning. So today, we're going to be analyzing these new screenshots together. We hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'll have Red Bandit's channel linked down in the description if you guys want to go check them out. I recommend you do so, and let's jump right into the podcast. Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Zach, but you can call me Hazardous. Welcome back to another Red Dead Redemption 2 video here on the channel today. I'm joined in with Red Bandit.
Hello, good to be joining with you.
How's it going, man? And today, in this Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be talking about some of the hidden features and details from the new screenshots that we received from Rockstar Games yesterday, detailing all the new frontier towns and cities, and also some awesome details about Arthur Morgan as well. So I guess to jump in, Bandit, if you want to start off with something you noticed.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to start off with one of the small things I noticed. I guess you could call it small. However, in my mind, I find it quite significant in terms of how we compare this to previous Rockstar titles. When we are looking at the screenshot here of Strawberry, which is the remote town with lots of log settlements and such, we can see that there is a hotel. And something I've picked up on is if you look on the balcony in Strawberry, specifically if you've got a high resolution image, you can see that some of the NPCs are leaning against the barrier. They're talking to each other in a much more natural way in comparison to like GTA, for example. I thought that was quite interesting because in GTA, NPCs will talk, they'll stand still. But as you can see here, it's a lot more natural in the way they do it. I just thought I'd bring that one up first.
Yeah, they're definitely doing their own thing right here. And like you said, it's not like old Rockstar NPC interactions where they're either just walking and talking or doing whatever. They're actually, performing different actions, hanging on the balcony and the railing and the banister. And it looks like one of the guys has either a drink in his hand or he has his hand up in some way. But they're all just chatting, The sun's about to set soon, it looks like.
Exactly. I thought it was really cool because, like, I've been walking through even old Red Dead Redemption plenty of times, and I'll admit the emphasis on characters and NPC and the immersion in the world is great in Red Dead Redemption 1. But here, although it's a minute detail, it's very small, very minuscule if some people were looking at it at a first glance, but it all contributes towards a much more immersive feeling. And the fact that they're leaning, they're relaxing, they look a lot more natural in the way they're going about it. I think it's small details like this that are going to make the world feel more alive. That's just my opinion anyway.
I wonder what's going to happen too if Arthur kind of walks up there and walks by the NPCs, because the only time I can think of in Red Dead Redemption is when the prostitutes outside the saloon in Armadillo just kind of lean on the balcony, but like when you walk by,
yeah,
they immediately stand up and start walking away and talking and saying some random quote to you. I don't know if that's gonna I doubt that's gonna happen in this game, but it's just interesting to see them actually doing that and not be like disturbed by anything, because any slight disturbance to the NPCs in Red Dead Redemption would make them like stop whatever they're doing and do something like totally different. The other screenshot with Micah Bell and Arthur Morgan when they're running, I was talking about this in the video yesterday. Obviously Arthur Morgan's in a full sprint here. Both of them have dual revolvers, but it looks like Micah's in some type of like crouch sprint. It looks like he's trying to avoid getting shot and either taking cover behind that railing right there, the wooden railing with all the carved wood. I'm not sure if that's necessarily what's going on, but if you look at his eye, his left eye, it's closed and it looks a little bit swollen. So possibly, he was captured, held for ransom or something. Arthur Morgan broke him out, and now they're trying to escape. And obviously, Micah doesn't have any weapon holsters on him, so he had to either pick up the revolvers off of dead enemies, or Arthur Morgan gave some pistols to him, whatever happened. It looks like they're running away from something and not necessarily after something to me. I thought maybe they were running towards something before, trying to capture somebody, but after looking at the way Micah Bell's all beaten up and without like any other clothing on him besides just a normal button down and like his chaps, I don't see what else they would be doing necessarily.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely looks more like Micah Bell the more I look at it, with the red shirt, the way the hair is. Of course, we can't confirm because he hasn't got his standard hat on or his moustache is visible. But again, like you said, Arthur Morgan dual wielding his revolvers there. Only one holster visible. However, I would presume this is, of course, confirming, once again, reinstating the fact that we can dual wield weapons. And I feel like you're right about the fact that he may have been captured. Maybe this is a savior mission. We're escaping rather than attacking. And I'm really keen to find out exactly what happens. Maybe he gets captured by some sort of enemy gang or a cult, because Strawberry isn't really the town you'd expect to have things like that going on. It looks like a rather peaceful environment, but I'm definitely eager to find out what's happened here anyway, put it that way.
Definitely. And kind of a good segue from that too, as well, is the screenshot in Ansburg. If we just fly over there real fast, we can see Arthur Morgan talking to the two women and the boy outside the front porch of their house. And obviously the guy's in the background doing whatever with his shoe, either waxing it or just getting dirt and mud off of it or something. But we can see Arthur Morgan here. Obviously this is coming on the left side of him, and we can see a weapon holster on his left side. And so I'm not too sure if this is confirming that there's dual wield holsters for Arthur Morgan. He can have two holsters on at the same time. If you can dual wield, you should be able to have two holsters. That just makes sense from a design aspect. But in this screenshot, this could be the first time that we've seen a holster on Arthur Morgan's left side. The only concern that I have is that perhaps this is just a flipped image that Rockstar did for the purposes of the screenshot looking aesthetic or something. If it was flipped around, maybe it would look awkward. But I can't really tell which side of Arthur Morgan this is coming from. If this is actually the left side of him, or if this is just the right side. And obviously, they mirrored the image to face this way. Yeah. But if you look over his waist, you could see part of his holster buckle, and then you could see his bandolier hanging out there. And I'm not sure if there's one holster on his right side that's just peeking out from the side of his jacket. But it is covered right there by his jacket himself. So maybe just in all these screenshots, it's just happened that his left holster has always been covered up.
I agree. Definitely looks more likely as time progresses. We know that we've seen various screenshots of dual-wielding pistols. However, this is the only evidence so far I can find, and you can find by the sounds of it also, that suggests to us that we can definitely have dual-wielded weapons holstered at once. I wouldn't imagine Rockstar Games making it so you can only have one, but then you can pick up an extra one. I guess that might work in a similar way to Max Payne 3, where you can pick up a shotgun and a pistol at the same time. But it would make a lot more sense if this, of course, would then allow us to have two holsters. But yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. Definitely a good analysis, something I want to find out when the game is released as well. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Valentine, the small town that we're all familiar with the church tower, with the mountains in the background. And it said in the statement that Valentine was a high area of interest for animal trading. Now, animal trading, as we know, is quite a popular topic back in the 1899, around that era. However, we did hear in the gameplay trailer, Micah Bell did say something about redistributing stock. And what he meant by that was livestock. So putting two and two together, it sounds as though we may be able to, as a side activity, rustle up cattle or sheep or steal these livestock from other farmers. And considering Valentine is such a hot spot for trading animals, maybe even take them there to make some quick money. And we know that this is some sort of stuff that Rockstar would definitely introduce. I'm just wondering what you think about that and whether you think that's a possibility.
I definitely think it's a possibility, and it's a good point too, because Josh Bass and Aaron Garbett brought up in their interview with the Hollywood Reporter that you can kind of enter different buildings and just take things that you want. It's not just like an empty space. There's drawers you could file through and things like that. So if that level of detail is in the game, I can only see things like that where you can go to, a farm or a pen like this at night and just like take animals if you want, or just go in there during the day, blast some people and take their property. Because you're right, that was brought up in the gameplay trailer by Micah, and this is that same farm actually that was shown in one of the images when they were talking about the horses. So that's definitely pretty interesting. And if you can do sheep and things like that, where does it stop? You could do horses, cattle, pigs, all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a great way to earn cash anyway, put it that way. Now the economy is such a high focus in the game. Definitely going to be a side mission I'm going to try out when the game releases. We've definitely got to give that a go and see if that's a good, effective way to earn money. Anyway, I don't know if there's anything else you spotted. If you do, shoot ahead.
There's two other things. One of them, if we fly over to Saint Denis, actually, and we look at the screenshot of Arthur Morgan hanging on the side of the trolley, initially when I flipped through the screenshots, I kind of saw him and I saw his hand up, just thinking he had his hand on the trolley, kind of taking cover shooting. And then obviously I looked at it a little bit longer, and he's really hanging on the side of this. And this seems to be some type of function you can perform in the gang. Sorry, not in the gang, in the game. And, you know, whether it's just like press RB or R1 on the PlayStation 4, and you can kind of hop on the side of a trolley with a handle like that and hold it and start shooting. This seems to be, you know, Red Dead Redemption's answer to GTA when you're shooting out the window of a car. You know, one hand is occupied and you can kind of hang out the side and shoot with the other hand. I wonder what that's going to be in terms of accuracy, what that's going to do to Arthur, if he's going to be able to get proper aim. I just wonder what's going on with the trolley overall, though. If these sparks are coming from gunshots being fired at Arthur, or if the, you know, the electric power rails above the trolley that give it the electricity to go around Saint-Denis, if those broke and, like, there's a fire starting or something. I'm not too sure. This is a pretty, you know, it looks like this is taken more or less with a telephoto lens from further away, zooming in on Arthur rather than just taking place right there. So we can't get a full scope of what's going on in this image.
That's very true. I feel like this might be part of a mission or a heist. You see, Arthur Morgan's already got his bandana over his mouth, which suggests to us that either a robbery's just taken place, whether that's mission-based or free roam-based, we're not sure. However, we see this a lot with Rockstar games. Like with GTA 5, for example, we saw Trevor driving out the back of an aircraft with a Jeep, and we thought, whoa, you can hijack planes and jump out the back of them, when in reality it was just a mission. Now, I feel like it would be awesome if we can just go to Saint-Denis, start a fight, and grab onto these trams, which I agree, R1 or L1 or whatever it is on the controller would be an awesome feature to grab on. However, I'm still reserving that fact in my mind that this may just be a mission-based script. You know, Rockstar games like to show off features, but then it turns out that sometimes those features are restricted to certain missions or certain things that can play out during the game. But definitely, if this is something we can do, and we don't have to be on a mission to do it, it's going to be really, really awesome. But trams follow a very specific path. It's not like a car or a bus where they turn wherever they want. You know, they've got to follow tracks. So although it's going to be a fun feature, I definitely want to find out exactly what's going on here and why there's so many sparks. It looks as though some heavy gunfire is definitely going on, but I can't confirm what just yet anyway, put it that way.
And like you said, it would be a shame if it would be mission specific.
Exactly, yeah.
And also, like you said too, these trolleys follow tracks, and they really don't move that fast either. If any of you guys have ever been to San Francisco or anything like that, or even Dallas or Boston, you'll see these trolleys going around the streets, and they're moving 5-10 miles an hour max, maybe. So to kind of see Arthur Morgan hop on the back of this, start shooting, and he's like going slower than he would be running, it would be pretty silly to look at. It would be pretty comical, I think. But I think it would be a cool feature. Maybe it would have more of a better use in multiplayer rather than single player. But that's a story for another day. Definitely a cool detail, though. And then one of the last things I wanted to bring up, too, was Mount Hagen. I thought maybe blizzards would necessarily just be mission-specific, and I made a video about weather before on the channel over the past weekend. And no one really knew what the whole blizzard deal was in the gameplay trailer when we saw Arthur and Dutch kind of heading through the blizzard, and Dutch was saying that he needed, we need to find food and supplies to keep the gang fed and alive. And so I thought maybe that was mission specific, just kind of like heists in GTA 5, and you wouldn't necessarily see really bad blizzards in the game. But it looks like from these screenshots here, at least of the one where Arthur and the gang are storming this encampment here up at Mount Hagen, the weather looks pretty bad. And so I can only imagine that whenever it's supposed to rain, in the game's dynamic weather cycle, if you're high up in the elevations of Mount Hagen, it's going to be cold, and you're going to be thousands and thousands of feet above sea level. So obviously it's going to be cold, in which rain would be snow instead. And if you get winds and things like that, you get a blizzard. So that's pretty neat. And then lastly, the only other point I have is the actual horse tracks here in the snow. They're not necessarily just, hoof imprints in the snow, as you would see with like Arthur walking through the snow or the mud or anything like that, where he just leaves a footprint. These horses are actually dragging their feet through, so you can see the level of detail that Rockstar goes in to actually, I guess, create different clumps of snow, or whatever their particle effect system is. You could see the detail just in the horse tracks with the snow here too. Because I know that's one of the biggest, I guess I would say, flaws in games, is water mechanics and things like that, like splashes and bullets going through the water and when your character moves and things like that. And so to see this detail in snow, I don't know how hard that is to design, but it definitely looks cool. I mean, it's a high level of detail. All those tracks are unique, individual. It doesn't look like, you know, a set 4 or 5 tracks that are just repeated. It looks like completely different.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It would be really interesting to find out how that's going to work. I definitely cannot wait to scale Mount Hagen when the game comes out and make a video of trying to just hike to the top. Hijack, I nearly said. I can't wait to make a video where we hike to the top of that mountain, especially online as well. That's going to be something I'm really excited about, and I agree. Definitely another thing that would tie into that as well with snow effects and the way it works is obviously the blood in the encampment where we see that guy being shot. We can see that the blood is exploding out of his body and it's coming out of all of his limbs and it's all on the ground in the snow, soaking up into the ground. I thought that level of detail was just really cool as well. Something that we haven't seen previously much in previous Rockstar titles anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of people were concerned with the gameplay trailer too and the lack of gore. And so if this isn't as much as a confirmation of the level of detail in terms of blood and gore in the game, I think we're in for a treat here because I wonder how long that blood stays there. You know, if snow will eventually cover it up, snow melting and all these things. This is just my speculation here, but it's interesting to see that stuff happen. So I wonder the extent that Rockstar takes the blood and gore in Red Dead Redemption 2.
I think lastly, my last thing I wanted to just quickly touch on was the fact that boats, we've been speculating for a long time now, boats, are they going to be usable? Are we going to be able to travel through boats? Are we going to be able to swim? Well, as we see from this postcard with Arthur Morgan in the swamps, I believe the place is called Legras or Legras, however you want to pronounce it, but we can see a depiction of Arthur Morgan in the background on a canoe. And also in the screenshot where he's skinning an alligator, you can also see in the bottom left-hand corner, if you focus real carefully, there is a canoe there as well. So it pretty much 90% now, I'm pretty certain canoes and boats of some sort are going to be usable throughout the world. And hopefully that's some sort of way we can reach the northern island of, what was it called? Cinco Torres. And I think that would be really cool if we can get to Cinco Torres through boats itself. Definitely awesome. I would like to see how far out to sea we can go or whatever the limits are going to be. But I thought that was just the last point I should bring up here today.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sure if you guys found anything, be sure to point it out in the comments. I'm sure we can learn a lot from it, and we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Just kind of flicking through these screenshots last minute, I'm noticing a few more things here. But, you know, we can save that for another video. But nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed. Bandit, it was great being on here with you, and it was a lot of fun making this video.
Yeah, you too. Great. We'll have to do more in the future, especially when the next gameplay releases, which should be this week. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for Thursday, guys. We could, I really just don't want Rockstar to go silent for another week like they did with the character artworks and like how we didn't hear anything last week. And, you know, we can expect the gameplay trailer this Thursday, or they could go silent and hold off until next week. That would be worst case scenario. I really hope they don't, but we'll just have to see. We have the Power Unlimited preview coming out tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow we've got Power Unlimited, a potential gameplay trailer announcement since that's not Rockstar Games directly. Thursday, if there is gameplay, that will cover us until next week. And then next week on the 25th of September, we've got a PlayStation Magazine article. So the next 2 weeks are jam-packed with information. Regardless of what happens, we've got tons to make and tons of content for people to look forward to. So sounds great.
For sure, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. And if you enjoyed watching this video, definitely drop a like. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Yep. Adios.